So I just compared this one with actually the rest of my body, and I just do a cut section through here, so Alt B. And that is actually pretty close, really well captured. But I noticed here, this is all intersecting, that's good, but there is a big part where it does not intersect. Alt B. And there I notice, ooh, this is actually, that's too much of a distance. The rest here is pretty good. So where is maybe the flaw? And if I select everything and then go to wireframe mode, there I can see from here this whole object actually goes up. So if I then turn this mode off, then there I can see my start, mid, bottom corner, and then here this loop cut. So now these are the two loop cuts we made. What's important is to see is actually these two are horizontal, actually the back two, but not the front point. So this front point, that is the big problem here. So I have to select this one and then slide it maybe a little bit back and then push it a little bit down. Maybe a little bit more. And oh, you see now, this actually follows it much better. So let's do a cut section. I'll be this way. Yeah, and you see there. So a little bit down, a little bit further back. Okay, now this actually looks better now. So this flows more horizontal because this set of points simply pulls the surface down. And then we have the other loop cut here that here defines this curvature. Yeah, okay. Maybe from here, one last check. So these two maybe a little bit to the outside. Yeah, let's keep it like this. Okay, good. So with that done, all our edge points up here are good too. So how do we model this rim? There are two ways how to do this actually. I could select this via Alt. I click on this upper edge that then selects the whole loop. Then I press E for extrude and escape. And let's go to bounding box. Actually here we'll go to 3D cursor, so it's right here. This is perfect. So S and X, so I scale along the x-axis, and then S and Y, I scale along the y-axis. There you see, we modeled that, and then here, probably these points, then I have to, where are they? Move them to there. Okay, so I added this lip or flange manually. You can do this if you want to trust your eyes. Very often, however, I feel that very often eyes can easily be fooled. So let me show you a better way. So we delete this rim. Let's turn the scan back on. We go to Edit, Preferences, Add-ons, type in Mesh, and here is an extension mesh, edit mesh tools. This we want to turn on. Notice here an edit an edit button pops up. Let's close this. We will alt click on this edge, then we go to edit, and we have here various commands like vertex chamfer, vertex extrude, or edge offset, edge fillet. Now offset, that's what we want. Some more utilities. So it's actually a good set of commands we use a lot. So all this we don't need, but we want this offset edge. So click it. Well, it's actually huge. So let's click and drag this down till it starts to look good. When we hold Shift and then use the mouse button, we can scroll a little bit finer. Yeah, maybe like this. Okay. Let's hide the scan. And you see what we have. Alt, Shift, left mouse button. We select both loops. And then we go to Edge and say Bridge. That connects all the faces. Pretty cool, no? This edge we want to, for the moment, be creased. So let's add a crease. Go to a side view, because the next step is very important. You noticed how actually these points are a little bit lower. So Alt click on this edge, go to a side view, global bounding box, and then we move this one up till it starts to kind of cheesy, overlap. Here, these points are a little bit on the naughty list, so maybe more the back point here. Pushing this down, yeah, okay. B, actually maybe wireframe mode, B, select both. So what I'm trying to do is I try to move these points up and down so that the mesh lines line up with the red line. Again, this is a concept model. We don't have to be precise here to a millimeter. We can be close. This is all sufficient. Okay, move this one up. So this is all pretty good. Only problem is Z and solid view. Oh, I had this one turned on. Let's take a look at this. We see here that this is actually not correct. So simply move this out further, there. And there you see actually how this is more arced. So this point is okay. Shift, remove it from the selection, and then those points we move back a little bit. Let's take a look how this is. So maybe, you see how this looks like an S. When we turn this off, you see that these two are the same. Shouldn't be. Maybe a little bit more like this. And then both we can move back. Then this arcs better. Yeah, actually this looks pretty good. Side view, okay, U. Zip, bring this up. Can compare this to the scan. There. Okay, cool. Yeah. So we very easily modeled a lip that goes around. Pretty cool. Yeah. So this, as you can see, that offset command is much better than doing this by hand, because I know that, let's see, this distance is correct. The edges might have actually different lengths based on the orientation, but it should be all really the same. But we can verify. So U and U, and turn on edge length. Yeah, 1.9, 1.89, 1.94, 1.9, 2, 1.9. Okay, yeah, plus minus. Okay, Blender is not meant to be super precise. It's more meant for soft modeling, and this is perfectly fine. But what we have is good enough. Okay, let's save. This looks pretty good. And the reason why we have this lip is to make sure that this vessel without this lip would actually really be very unstable. So we built this flange. But now this flange is a little bit flimsy. And what we will do is E and Z, extrude this straight down. Yeah. But by how much? 1 centimeter. Yeah, minus 1 centimeter. And that's actually maybe a lot, 0.5 centimeters. So 5 millimeters. Oh yeah, this is good. This edge creasing, however, is not really very useful. So let's set this to 0. And that turns everything to be very soft again. I would like this edge and this edge to be rounded more. So here's an interesting process and trick now. This we will select first, and we give this a bevel of 1. Then we can go add a bevel modifier, and we move this in front of the sub D modifier. We will set limit to vertex, so only the edges selected will be rounded. 10 centimeters is a lot, maybe a centimeter, and maximum of 3. We don't really need more edges. Okay, I also notice here this is getting really, this is very tight. This is at a nice line, but you can see because we pushed this one down, I might have to select this point and later GG slide this down a little bit. I'm not sure, so I will leave it there for the moment. But with this edge beveled with a segment of 3, 1 centimeter, let's turn this on. And yeah, well, there's a nice rounding. Segment of 1 works, 2 is fine, 3 adds more detail, 4, 5, 6, it's not really doing anything else. Also here, as always, least amount as possible. So 3 or 2 seems to really do the job. So when we do a cut section view, let's take a look how this feels. Yeah, so actually 3. 3 is good. You see how with between 3 and 2, the surface pulls up a little bit more. Very nice. What about 0.5 centimeters? So 1 centimeter. Let's go with 1 centimeter. This might be easier for the moment. So when, and here's now an interesting trick now when we go to edit mode. So this inner area we have filleted, and this outer edge I selected via Alt left mouse button click. We want to fillet too, but we know this has a distance of, what was it, half a centimeter? Yep. So when this is half a centimeter, we can't round this by 1 centimeter because the length is half of this. So when we select this edge, we can't give this a value of 1 because this wouldn't work. Maybe 0.5. This is then actually half of it. Okay, or what happens when we say 0.25? You see, we actually make it smaller. So when this is 1 centimeter, then this is rounded by 0.25 centimeters, and this inner edge is rounded by 1 centimeter. So 10 millimeters, 2.5 millimeters. Okay. So you see then this way we can actually define a maximum rounding value, and via the edge painting we can customize this more. Pretty cool, I would say. Maybe here I will select those because the back here is flat. What happens when we move this up a little bit? And move this up a little bit. There. We put in a really nice curvature. Gentle, not too much. Pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah, no, actually we have kind of like the detail back, which I removed before, but this actually looks better now. It makes more sense. Okay. Very nice. We can take a look at the scan here. The scan doesn't really have much of a resolution for the outer edge, but it can show us maybe this inner edge and see how well did we maybe replicate it. So I will do an Alt B. So there's our object, 0.75. Now that definitely looks, compared to our scan, too small. 1.5 too big. So 1 centimeter actually seems to be pretty good. Okay, very nice. So I would say then we also in this video finished fine-tuning the rest of the body, and then we sculpted in this offset rim and also added a little bit of a stabilizing geometry by the extrusions on outside, and then we rounded everything via the bevel modifier. And then in the next video I will show you how we do the grooves.